3:02 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:02 BST. This is the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe, the best podcast you never heard of. It's another Sunday. It's 3 o'clock. So you know what that means. An hour, well, not maybe an hour, less than an hour, about 45 to 55 minutes of us just yammering on and not doing anything specific. We have no guests this week. We had somebody lined up, but, you know, life happens. So how are you,
TK
Joe?
Couldn't do this week because it's potentially Eid today or tomorrow. So happy Eid to everyone who celebrates that.
Sure, absolutely, and so we'll get TK on at some point. We have some other guests lined up, so it just, you know, religious things or family things or life things kind of get in the way. So, you know, we're flexible. I mean, it's not like we're exactly the Joe Rogan experience over here. So you know, we don't have to worry about it. So Scoop's in the chat. Afternoon, Scoop. How are you, sir? So how was your week? My week, work-wise, was a disaster. I won't go into the details, but a lot of long Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the phone for pretty much 14, 15 hours straight, trying to fix whatever issue we were having. So, you know, it's when it's running great, it's great. When it's not running great, a couple long nights. So
I like the way you described it as being Android 10 and you had to roll back to Android 9.
Yeah. So it was not good. So
that shows the picture.
Lots of people, you know, got invisibility and it didn't look good, and it was just kind of a catastrophe. So anyway, that's
technology,
okay. Yeah, well, you know, it's a lot, you know, and it's funny because, you know, I hear and I see people complain about like iOS updates and Android updates and Windows Phone updates and things being broken and everything else, and I'm telling you, from seeing it from the perspective of what I have with deployments and software, and it's a lot more complicated than you would think. You know, changes in code and changes, especially considering that iOS and Android are really changing a lot of code.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and they own the code, so you would think that, you know, just because Google owns the code doesn't mean the people who wrote the original software for AOSP are still hanging out at Google, right? So, you know, it's a lot more complex, and I think, you know, if you lived in the world that I lived in, you would see how it really can be a lot more tricky. And just because things work in like release candidates or, you know, or alphas or betas, you know, in lower environments, if you're deploying code, you'd be surprised when you deploy to a production environment how it doesn't work the same. I know it shouldn't be, right? It's computer code. It should work. And I'm telling you, it doesn't always work that way. So just, you know, when you're hacking on people, just give them a little bit of grace, right? So we got Jermaine's in the chat, Neil's in there, Barry Johnson, and so hopefully your week wasn't as chaotic and crazy as mine. Hopefully it was a little bit more.
It was a funny old week. I had to close a store, which is never nice. People losing jobs.
Right.
But the back end of my week was nicer. I had 2 days off, one with my little one, and the other one jet washing the back. Never have a day off, not a proper one.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I have my regular days off, except that, you know, depending on the situation. So luckily we're back to square. So that's enough talk about work on a Sunday.
Yeah,
so
let's forget about work.
Right, exactly. Because especially when you had a bad week, it involved, you know, copious amounts of alcohol and just, you know, watching sports. So, you know, I did all that, and the Blues made the Stanley Cup playoffs, so they will start at the Minnesota Wild on Monday, which is kind of nice. That's why I have my little.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully, it'll be a good series. Cardinals are playing, so it'll be a good deal. So, tech-wise, what do we got going on? Apparently, did we make a video? And oh, by the way,
yeah, we've got a new video up. Yep.
Okay.
On the Purposely Pixel channel. It's about what we would like to see from the new Pixel Watch. So Lenny goes through. I've added a few of the leaks and stuff that you see as well. So definitely check that out. It's only 5 minutes of your time. Won't take long.
Right. It's only 300 seconds. I mean, really, heck, you can almost do something you don't like for 300 seconds. So, you know.
I mean, watch it twice if you want. Why not? That's 10 minutes.
and then maybe go to another device and watch it there, and then like it from there,
Yeah.
and try to goose the algorithm a bit for purpose of the Pixel folks. So yeah, Lenny does a good job, and we can talk about that. Like I said, I still I'm kind of on the fence about wearables like a regular proper watch. I do have a Galaxy Watch 3, I think. I very rarely wear it for two
I
main
wear mine
reasons.
every day.
Yeah, the battery's not that great, and I can't get through a day. And the other thing too
Oh,
is that
really?
it's kind of big and heavy and bulky. Like I'm not usually a watch wearer, even when I was wearing analog watches. Right, I just didn't really wear a watch. So I kind of like just having the band, right? The Mi
The
Band
band, yeah.
just gives me basic notifications. I don't need to talk on my phone, and I don't run apps on my phone. So, having the Galaxy Watch is nice. So I guess my thinking is I'm excited for the Pixel Watch. I probably will get one at some point just because I have a Pixel. But, when it comes to the Android space, I mean, I know a lot of more people wear Android. I mean, I'm sorry, iOS and Apple Watches than they would.
Yeah.
I know that I see a lot of like Apple Watches on folks, right? So
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
and not as many. I mean, you will see people wearing like a Galaxy Watch or something like that, or like a Fitbit or something like that. But I honestly, I think if I had the Pixel 6 and I daily drove that, I don't know if I would use a watch very often, even with all the integrations and stuff like that. It's just not part of my regular workflow.
Yeah, well, see, it depends. Like for me, I'm in retail, so I shouldn't be looking at my phone, obviously, in front of customers. Whereas a little glance at my watch is quite good, quite handy to have. I can think, should I? That's not important. I can look at that later on my break. Or if it's something important about my daughter, I can rush out back quickly and deal with it, make a phone call, whatever. So it's handy for that, for like my job role in retail.
Yeah.
And there must be others.
I agree with Neil. We're just going to kind of wait and see it's going to be interesting to see what features it will offer, like text to speech, and that kind of thing. And I agree, text to speech is nice, or if it can do live translation and where you don't have to have, but all those processes are going to take, processing power, which means battery life is going to be impacted by that. So
that's what I was about to say. It goes back to Barry last week. What he said, like the biggest thing for me as well is how's that battery going to last?
Yeah. And that's what I, and Aditya, he's in the chat as well. So he makes a comment. He's like, what do you want from your smartwatch? Yeah. I mean, like, again, and it's just like a phone or just like anything else. Like, what are you looking to do? Right. So for me, it's really just about notifications. So for me, having a band is fine.
That's all you need, really.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't really use all the other features. I mean, I have taken a phone call on it because it's kind of cool. But the problem is when you're taking a phone call, like when you're talking to the watch, the person you're speaking to is talking through a speakerphone. So it means everybody around you can hear that conversation, and maybe that's not always optimal, or you don't want that conversation to be overheard. So that can be kind of good. And then and Dan's in the chat too. So welcome, Dan. Thanks, sir. And I agree with it. Can't beat an analog watch. I have an old Seiko, and it's got it winds itself because it's like an Eco Drive or whatever. It's a kinetic, right? So it winds itself, and you can't beat an analog watch. I agree. So because sometimes you just want to tell the time, right? And it's really
I'd love to check out. Have you heard of Withings?
No.
See, they do some really nice looking watches, and there's a guy in a MeWe group I'm in. He generally thinks it saved his life.
Oh.
He went and saw the doctor on the back of like some of the recordings, and he was like, "Oh wow, I need to see a doctor." And they said it did pretty much save his life. He had pneumonia for a little while, and then there was heart problems as well.
Well, yeah.
So his watch kind of saved his life.
Especially if you're into, if you have medical conditions or whatever, a smartwatch especially. And the only thing is right now is I don't know if I would trust an Android Wear or a Google Watch.
That's the thing as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I think Apple's got it. I think Apple has a better handle on the wearable, and I agree with Jermaine here. Like the Samsung and Apple watches are smartwatches that are trying to be a smartphone, right? So that will impact battery life. So it really is going to kind of be how are you going to use your smartwatch? Are you the kind of person that really is going to use a watch every day, all day long, constantly on it, constantly touching it, interacting with it, running apps on it? If you are, yeah, well, then you're not going to get the same battery life as opposed to somebody like me who really just uses a smartwatch at this point for really just using the watch as a notification, just because you don't really have a good way to handle notifications on the device you're using. So
It's funny you say that because when I first got this Galaxy Watch 3, I put Snake on it for a bit of nostalgia. The old Nokia game Snake.
Yeah.
Why? I thought after a few days, why am I playing Snake on my watch?
Well, and the funny thing is you mentioned that. So I have Xbox Game Pass. So they had NHL 94, but they had the old Sega Genesis version of NHL 94. I told you I spent like 4 hours just playing NHL 94, which is stupid because one, I'm paying $15 a month to play a game that's 25 years old. And the funnier part is I have a Sega Genesis downstairs with the cartridge. That game, it's like I could just like, why am I playing NHL 94? I could just play my Sega Genesis and hook up to a TV. Like, how stupid am I? It's just like I'm sitting there realizing after a couple hours, I go, I have this game and I have a Genesis. I could hook it up and just play it, and it would be playing it for free.
That's when you realize how lazy we are.
Oh, God.
The watch is there on my wrist. I'll just use it.
Right, exactly. And Gigi's in the chat. Rachel is in the chat. Hey, how's it going? Good. Welcome. Thanks for stopping on by. So, and the Gigi makes a point here. The issue he has with medical equipment on your consumer product is security, medical information in the wrong. Right, again, because remember, if you have information on a watch and or a phone, remember the watch doesn't have biometrics, right? So somebody could take it off your wrist and then they have access to it. And what I mean? So I think from a security standpoint, I think that could be a real legitimate issue. Although I don't know how many scenarios you would have where somebody would take a watch off your wrist if you're like incapacitated. I mean, I guess you would. But yeah, I mean, depending on what's on your watch, you could have a situation where, you have some, some PII or some personally identifiable information or medical information that is not as secure as it really should be. So I think if you're dying, though, I don't think you really care that much at that point.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I can say when you're laying on the ground and you're basically, a couple seconds from like basically passing on to the next life, I don't think you're really really about security that much. Maybe that's just me.
Maybe not there.
Right. So I like the design of it. I've seen if the leak, and I think it's funny how people have had discussions on was a leak manufacturer, right? Did somebody really leave it at a restaurant? And I'm thinking, well, it could be possible. Somebody could be using it and test running it and actually wearing it on their wrist and using it in a real world setting. It would take it off for a second to adjust it and set it on the table and walk away to use the restroom. And however, somebody's got to really be paying attention to the fact that doesn't look like a standard watch. You know what I mean? Like to walk over to a table and take pictures of it. It's like you really have to be paying attention to what somebody else is using. I don't know. The fact
the guy went onto Reddit shortly after he gave it to Android Central, and he did a Q&A on there. People wanted to ask questions about it. Quite interesting. So definitely check it out. Yeah.
And then Dan says he's worried about Chinese firms having medical information. Yeah, I would say that I wouldn't. My opinion on that would be basically the opinion of I don't trust the CCP. I also don't trust the American government with my medical information, right? So I just, I find it, if it's your medical information, any government or any entity could misuse that or put it in a database. So I agree that's something that's really pretty sensitive.
I kind of feel you need to trust someone though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you have to trust. I mean, you could, but I don't think necessarily that, the Chinese government would really do a whole lot with your medical information. The fact that you take a bunch of medication as a regular person, as opposed to maybe wanting your banking information or if you mine Bitcoin or those kind of things. I think if they were more interested in the general Joe Q American or British citizen, they'd be more about the financial impact as opposed to medical. Because what can you really do? Okay, you have type 1 diabetes. Okay, we can leverage that. Not if you're not a spy, right? They're not going to compromise American citizens. So, at the end of the day, I just don't know how much of that can really trust the UK and the American and Chinese governments to really secure that data and then misuse that for some other nefarious reason. I mean, I guess they could, but at some point you'd have to. It would maybe delve into the realm of the tinfoil hat. Not necessarily that Dan's comment is, but you really just don't know unless you can confirm like what they're really doing with stolen data, right? You really don't.
That's the scariest thing about it. What are they doing with it?
Maybe nothing. I mean, maybe they're not doing anything with it. Maybe they're, are they really interested in what I'm doing, or what Joe Hickey's doing, or what Dan's doing in the UK? Maybe not. I just don't know. I don't have enough data to know. So it's interesting to steal.
So what was interesting, Dan put on there, or Neil put on there about Apple done it previously, like left in the restaurant. I feel like Google kind of must be aspiring to be like the Apple Watch to a certain degree. It kind of, in a lot of ways, it looks like it is a circular Apple Watch, doesn't it? In my opinion.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the
band is very similar, although I think the band is quite similar to the Charge 5.
And why not? The Apple Watch is probably the most successful wearable in the history of the world, right? So it's like, why wouldn't you want to try to make it, try to emulate it as much as possible as far as the aesthetic, physically, the hardware. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I would not want them to be identical, just because I like to have that little, I like it to have a little bit of a, when you look at an Apple Watch, right? When you look at a Google Watch, you want it to have enough functionality where it's similar, but enough differentiation where people can identify it on the street. Because people do pay attention to that, I think. I really do. So.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully it's got the Fitbit integration, because like they bought Fitbit. Why not use it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Google probably, bought a company, or Microsoft bought a company that didn't really leverage the success and the technology. And that takes time, to roll that into whatever your business model is. And remember, we don't know what they're really buying it for. Are they buying it just to get it out of the marketplace? Or are they really buying it to leverage that technology into something they're going to use, right? You don't really know. I mean, they might have just bought Fitbit because they're just tired of seeing Fitbit in the damn space,
Possibly.
So, yeah, it really kind of depends. And unfortunately, I'm not in on the Microsoft strategy calls, so I don't really know what they're doing. So
you're not?
No, they don't call me. I know, surprisingly, right?
You're a duo. You own a duo.
Right, and I think owning a duo doesn't automatically give me some kind of like a golden pass to get into
the club. I thought that would get you into the club.
Apparently not. Maybe some other people who are duo owners that maybe are a little bit more Microsoft influencers, maybe, but not this guy. No.
I'll get onto them for you. I'll email them.
Sure, yeah, we'll send an email at Microsoft.com. So, but. I mean, I like to see what's going on. At least, like anything else, the leak and the rumors and the renders get people talking about that. At least they know that there's some kind of a Apple Watch is coming. And so we'll have to wait and see how well it works, how well it's integrated. I think people already kind of already have their feelings about Android Wear and Watch OS and that kind of thing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Google I/O is the 11th, isn't it? 11th of May.
Yeah, I don't really know, because I honestly, and I guess this makes me a bad tech person, because I really don't I really don't pay attention to when I/O is. I mean, I don't think I've ever watched a developer conference in my life.
No, I don't watch them. No.
Yeah, so I'll just basically wait and see, and I don't have to worry about that, because as soon as whatever those Samsung Unpacked or Google I/O or Microsoft, the build account, build goes on, my Twitter and YouTube feeds are just immediately exploding with all sorts of what was going on. So I really kind of don't have to do the legwork there. That's what tech people and tech journalists are really there for. They can kind of do all that work, and I can read up on that. I can't imagine.
But we don't even read up on it. We just
but I don't even read up on it that much, because I figure the chat, the scuttlebutt in the chat, the water cooler chat will make it feel better. So we'll get involved. Right. Yeah. No, not really. Although I could walk into a country club if I actually had a membership, which I don't. I will tell you that I do get, and that's one of the funny things I've run into when using the Duo and the Duo 2 is I constantly have people asking me about it. I literally can't go into a restaurant or a store. I went to the other day to buy a couple things at a local little market. And the guy just kept, I pulled the phone out to do the Google Pay, tap to pay. So I hit the thing. And he immediately just like looks at me and goes, "What is that? One of those fold things?" And I was like, "No." That's the funny part. So yeah, it gets a lot of attention. So I agree with Aditya. I could walk into a country club had I have said membership. I don't think people would really care that much about the Duo and that country club setting. And regular settings, though, people do notice it. I mean, it's so something different, especially with the two screens. So they notice it for sure.
Sam, I've always been interested to know, do you actually use multitasking on your Duo much?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I'll be I'll be looking at Twitter, like a Twitter feed or whatever, and on the other side I'll read an email. Today I was using Microsoft Lens, right? So I was taking a picture of a document. So on the one screen I had the Microsoft Lens and the camera. On the other screen, my daughter had texted me, so I opened up Telegram. So I had Telegram on the one screen, responded to that real quick, and then went back to the Lens, completed that. Yeah, happens all the time. And really, it kind of depends on what I'm doing. So like if I'm doing something, and then it usually comes into if I'm doing something and I get a text message, then I will open up the second screen. Because I usually use it like this, open. Like I'm using it with both hands. I do sometimes do it this way, or I'm just got the one screen, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. But most of the time I'm sitting there and if I'm watching content, I'll kind of hold it like this in my hand. And just kind of look at it. And then if I need to like really kind of get down to it, I'll do that, make a phone call, and then open it back up and then close it. But most of the time I'm using it, it's open like a book. And that's the way I use it.
I really don't know if I would or not. It's hard to say until I try.
I think
I'm so used to just a single screen, I reckon I wouldn't.
I would say for most people, they would almost default to using this way because that's the phone, because they're used to doing this. And then once you kind of get past that use case where you're starting to, when you open it up to do anything and you're doing stuff, you kind of don't want to, the extra time it takes to double tap, flip, okay, I'm on the screen, I'm cool, like I'm close, you know what I mean? It's just, it requires a lot of hand gymnastics to use. So that's why I don't really suggest it for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people just don't give it its, and
I've got baby hands.
Right. And this is not a slight against Jason Lewis. So, he bought a Duo based on what Michael Fisher had said, and he said it the first day he took it back because he realized that in order to interact with the device, you have to continuously open the device. Like you have to, like you pick it up off the table, you got to open it, then unlock it, and then boom. And that's true.
Because the hinge on that is brilliant, isn't it?
It is. And I told him, I said, well, should probably, if you really want to, you could leave the phone open, but with that camera bump, now you've got the gap there. So that's not something people normally do. And again, it's like, I cannot for the life of me understand. It's like you bought a fucking phone at two screens with a hinge. Did you, and you're not, and Jason's not an idiot. He's a very smart guy. Did you not know that there is no screen here? Clearly there's no screen. So like, I don't understand. It's like, how the hell can you tell me you didn't like think about the fact that anytime you either have to have a watch to get a notification or you have to do peek, which I don't really do. I mean, it works, or you'll have to open up the phone every time or leave it open like this. Like, how did that not occur to you?
This is where watches do come in handy, like you say. Yeah.
Well, and I get it does. And so that's what's kind of funny is the Duo kind of necessitates using a smartwatch of some kind. Again, I guess what it is, I'm so used to using the Duo, and I know Gigi's used the Z, the Oppo Find N, and I'd argue with people, and with the Oppo Find N and the Z Fold, they have outer screens, right? They have a screen on this panel. The Z Fold 3, I don't care what anybody says it's not usable. I've had a Z Fold 3, it's not usable. It's so damn narrow, it's so darn tall. It's like it's just taking, I don't like it. So I never had the Z Fold 3, I'd open it up. But I guess my question is, it's if you're going to buy a phone and then deploy it occasionally, I can see that, right? If you get the Oppo Find N, you're going to be looking on the outside screen, then you're just really using a slab phone. But my question would be, if you're doing that, how often are you really engaging the middle screen? And then what are you engaging it for?
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Are you just doing it to watch a YouTube video or uninterrupted content? Or that's
so for me, I'd rather get a separate tablet that's specialized for that, and then my phone separate.
Right.
I get that it's handy to have both with you, but for me, I don't know. The durability of a tablet and a phone, for me, I guess that for me, it boils down to the durability. They're just not durable enough for me yet, the foldables.
Well, and I would agree. I think people are going to start running into, and I think people have run into some issues with the flip, right? The screen failing and then the Z Fold. Although I don't know if it's because the Huawei foldables and the Oppo Find N haven't been in the marketplace long enough, so we haven't seen some failures there. I don't know. I would maybe argue that they're better made, but I just don't know. And that's why I kind of like having the Duo, because I don't have to worry about a screen failing due to folding because the screen is separate, right? So, and again, like I said, it works for me, but I do switch. I'll throw a SIM card in my Pixel. I use it all the time. I used to have a P30. I still use that occasionally. And so really it kind of comes down to, I really don't give a shit what you use. I don't care what phone. I'm not trying to sell you, whatever. That's the beauty of the situation. I don't care how much money
everyone's
you spend.
different, aren't they?
Right.
Everyone's different. That's what
we
try and explain to people here.
Right. And that really what's nice is that's the beauty of the tech is you have so much variance. You have a slab phone, you've got some high-end phones, you got some camera-centric phones, you got more budget-ended devices. You got the Nord, the N20 just came out, so you have some budget-friendly devices. I think that's the beauty of it, right?
The only thing that I think is missing, there's not enough smaller devices. Like the Pixel 5 size was beautiful.
Right.
I'd love the Pixel 5 with the Pixel 6 Pro cameras. That form factor's loved it. I know Neil would agree with me. He loves it as well.
I agree. And the problem is there enough people that would drive a segment so they can make a SKU?
Yeah, it's all about size. We want big phones.
I think we've kind of, and there is something to be said for it, but I don't know if I would use a screen that's 5 inches, like a Z1 compact like they used to have. I understand for usability and portability if you're making phone calls, but I don't know. I mean, if people are doing a lot of content watching, I think a smaller screen is problematic for that.
You can watch YouTube and a short film or something on your lunch break on a Pixel 5. It's fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It all depends what you use your phone for, like you say. Yeah, if you are hardcore into watching content on your phone, then you're going to need the biggest screen possible.
But I think anything smaller is not really going to be functionally usable.
No, that's what I mean. I think that's the sweet spot, the Pixel 5.
Yeah, and I agree. The Find N seems to be the perfect foldable when it comes to form factor. I like the fact that it's a little shorter, a little wider. I would think for me, that would be a lot more of a usable. Yeah, I know. You knew it was coming, right? DT couldn't make it 20 is well, to be fair, he made it almost 30 minutes before he threw a little pun in there. So God love it. So that's again, like I said, I use the Duo. I like it. I understand why people don't. I understand why people throw it shade. I understand why people don't understand it. Or Jason, who makes a comment about basically that, yeah, he had it for a day or two and he just couldn't use it. Totally get it. Like no shame. I think though, if you can kind of get around the use case of it, and I think if you try to force yourself into kind of changing your workflow and your paradigm on how you interact with your mobile device,
experimenting with it,
I think you may find it to be still not working. Still not optimal, but kind of expand your horizons a bit. So, and Neil says, I kind of wish Google would do what Apple did with their Pro lineups and have a phone that's 6 inches in sort of a size that one that's 6'7". Yeah. I wish they would too, but I mean, I'm assuming the 6A is probably going to be, I don't know, like 5'8" to 6.2 inches. I would assume, but I just don't know. Yeah. So
talking of leaks, did you see the Apple screens?
I think I did. I think I saw the Apple screens. I also saw something about like a 14 and a 14 Max, and then a 14 Pro, and then a 14 Pro Max. So like a 14 that's a 815, and then a Pro version that's an A16.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm down with that.
But to be honest, I'm not an Apple user anyway, but what is wrong with the notch? Like, is the pill that much better? I don't think it is.
I don't think people. I think two things happen. I think people who use iPhones don't really care. And I
Probably
think
not. No.
also it really identifies the phone. When you see that notch, you know it's an iPhone, right? That's why they
Yeah.
make the camera housing the way they do, and that's why they make the notch the way they do. I think it is now kind of transcended functionality and aesthetic, and it's now become kind of an identifier with the devices. And even when they're deciding to kind of maybe change the notch as far as making the footprint smaller, even that is a dynamic looking footprint, right? They want to make sure that they want you to know, right? When you look at the back of the phone, you know for sure that that is not an iPhone.
Exactly.
Right? You know for sure that it's some kind of Android device, right?
That's
and
what you
I
want.
think right, and I think on the front of the phone, I think that's what Apple does. Plus, I just don't think they really care because I think Apple could put literally a notch in the front in the shape of a penis, and people would sell. They buy 6 million of them. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
it really matters at this point. I think
Probably
Apple
not.
is
No.
we're way past the point of people who I know who have iPhones are going to buy them almost in spite of anything Apple pulls. Take the headphone jack, ditch the charger, make sure that the charger cables fail after 3 months of use. Like it seems like Apple people, no matter what it is, it doesn't really matter anymore because they are
Yeah.
so
Like
in the
each year they're gonna.
right. And so I think Apple is kind of, and God, no shame to them because hell, I wish I could do that where you pretty much can do anything you want from an aesthetic or design capability, and you're going to sell tens of millions of units no matter really what you do. A lot of companies would love to be in that position.
Yeah.
And I even
See,
argue
for me,
that Apple,
the notch, the notch doesn't bother me because it has a function. It houses the speaker up on the top there, and it's got the different cameras for the face unlock.
oh God, it
I like
bothers
the
the hell out of me.
Sony.
Oh, it
I
bothers
like
the
the way
hell out of
Sony
me.
do it.
I think it looks terrible. It's
I
just
know, yeah,
atrocious.
but I don't mind because it's got a function.
Right. Yeah, I just like I said, I find it funny how the Pixel 3 had the big bat. I think the 3XL had the big bathtub, right? Everybody flipped out
Yeah.
about it. But then you've got this generation after generation of this really obtrusive kind of notch on an iPhone, and now it's to the point where it doesn't really matter anymore. So,
Shaving off millimeters.
yeah, and LED, it doesn't care. I hope Apple just fixed their cameras. Over sharpening and weird temperature issues are rough. I do love how Apple does the blue color. Yeah, I mean, it's word to the point where, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that if Apple's going to differentiate it, they have microfiber cloth.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have, and I don't. Whatever.
I'm
It's
going to
just
get you one
again,
for Christmas.
okay, sure. It's like $30. It's not like I don't know.
Plus shipping.
Plus shipping, right? Niels, I think like most phones, you really don't notice the top of the screen when you're watching content. So it's not a massive deal. I agree, and I think so too. When you're looking at the phone and you're using it, the notch is more present. But I think when you're watching content, you're in a movie or you're watching a show or a video, I really don't think you pay a whole lot of attention to it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm kind of glad the companies are trying to, like Microsoft and like Vivo, and they're trying to do some different kind of form factors to see if it can get traction. I would like to see foldables be a segment that people would really have, maybe not buy. I don't think everybody should have a foldable, but it'd be nice if it had enough engagement where people could really.
Well, in 2-3 years' time, when Apple do a foldable, it'll be massive.
If they even do one, I still at this point I think they're
They'll
waiting
be
to
the
see
first
how.
one as well. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course. Right, because people don't even know that the Surface Duo and the Vivo and the Find N even exist. So of course it'd be the first.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I just wanted to shout out another podcast today. Actually,
okay.
There's one you listen to it sometimes. The Phone Show Chat.
Oh God,
Ted
yeah.
Salmon and Steve Litchfield.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I wanted to give them a shout out today. I got photo of the week on the MeWe group this week.
There you go. Well, that's not surprising considering the fact that you take a lot of pictures and you're pretty good at it. So,
oh no, seriously, the guys in there take amazing photos. So it's like a real privilege to be on photo of the week.
Yeah,
that's why I had to mention it.
I mean, yeah, and if you don't listen to that show, if we're in some kind of rotation, which if we are, that's cool. If you're actually listening to this podcast, fantastic. But yeah, definitely listen to the Phone Show Chat. I mean, I've been listening to Steve and Ted for years and years and years when all the old Windows Phone, kind of days. So yeah, give them a listen. Phones, show, chat, check them out. And if you join the MeWe group, and I have, but I haven't been very active in that kind of thing. So yeah,
I'm always in there. It's good fun.
Absolutely, it's good. They're good time. Good guys. I like those guys a lot. They do a really good job.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and talking of sport, you mentioned your team. I've got to mention my team. Arsenal actually managed to win another game.
Okay, do they have like playoffs? And if they do, like when is it? Like, it's like,
How many times do we need to explain the league to you?
They don't have playoffs.
No. Well, that's the lower leagues do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
To get promotion.
Okay, so Arsenal won just a regular match. It's just a regular season.
Yeah, but I mean, each place has like more value. So we're trying to get top 4, which will get us into the Champions League, which is money, baby.
Okay, so Arsenal's not.
We've not been in it for quite a long time now.
Well, I know that Derby got relegated to League One.
Yeah, they're going real hard times.
And seemed like all sorts of, they were in administration, all sorts of shit. I mean, that's like a mess. And then so is Arsenal in League One as well? No,
we've never been in League One.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Premiership.
So, right. So who gives a shit? So you got to win the championship. So when the Premiership. So they're never going to leave the Premiership. So maybe, but they might win a cup or a trophy or I don't know what they have. I don't know what they have.
Well, it's bragging rights as well. Like if you beat your rivals.
But yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's bragging rights.
Well, go Arsenal or go fight, win, score a goal, couple of goals, win matches.
When you come to the UK, I'll take you to a game.
I'm not going to a game. You know why I'm not going to a game? Because I won't. First of all, I won't know what the hell's going on really, and second of all, I'll
get you so pissed you won't care.
Well, that's fine because I have a feeling I'm going to get an ass kicking. I can feel it coming. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to be clearly out of place because I'll be an American, and people will notice that, and then they'll say something, and then I'll be like, "Well, I don't really give a shit about soccer." And then it'll go crazy. And then I'll get probably a beer dumped on me, and then I'll have to punch the first person I see. It won't be.
They'll probably think you're friends with Stan Kroenke. They'll be like,
well, what's funny is I'm from St. Louis, so if you knew anything about anything, if you think you don't like Stan Kroenke, we hate that guy.
Yeah, I know.
Trust me. If you don't,
I knew that would hit a nerve saying that.
I don't care what any person in the UK thinks about how they feel about Stan Kroenke. If you're in St. Louis, you absolutely hate that guy. You want to punch him in the throat. Like I would punch Stan Kroenke in the throat if I saw him. And he's
with your duo.
With my duo, and then I'd probably shove him out of a window. He's just a horrible, horrible human being. So
he's not well liked.
Right. Well, yeah.
So
fans. That's what makes me fun. That makes me laugh too, because it's like he's so much of a jerk face that it's not just us in St. Louis that doesn't like him; that he's just equally hated around the world. So, and to get back, I hate to go back because Neil jumped us in, but yes, I did try Nothing Launcher, and it's whatever. It's nothing. It's literally, it's like it's a launcher. It's got no features. It's got, I actually put on my Pixel, and I played with it for like all day on Saturday, and I was like, okay, it's just a launcher. I tried it. I won't be buying a Nothing phone. I don't need a Nothing phone.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I mean it's great, but again, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I did try the Nothing launcher. I did load it onto my Pixel, and it's kind of a boring launcher, to be honest with you.
Do you know what? It's just them being smart. It's good marketing.
Yeah, so people can try it and get some buzz around it. But yeah, I did try it, but functionality wise, I was missing something. It didn't really wow me. So
I've got no interest. Like I saw loads of tweets and messages saying it's nothing and all the jokes. And I was like, yep, I'm not going to bother wasting my time.
I did load Android 13 beta, and there's a couple of things I like. I like, there's some UI tweaks that I like. I haven't really played much with it. It looks like there's apparently some chance for a face unlock to happen.
Yeah, I see that.
So that's kind of cool. So yeah, Android 13 would be interesting, but it's iterative, I'm sure. I mean, it's not going to be groundbreaking. I used the fake football term. I figured I would just say it at an Arsenal match just because I get my ass kicked. I kind of almost like pick a fight. I kind of like pick a fight at that point. Just saying, and especially if I had a couple of pints and it was pissed. Oh shit, yeah, I'll fight a whole section full of English people. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I figured, fuck it. I mean, I don't want to get arrested in another country but anyway, but yeah. Oh, and yeah, I think I would enjoy. I've watched matches on TV and it's amped up. Like it's fun. Like I can really get into the energy of a football match. Like I really, like an Arsenal match or anything. Yeah, it looks pretty
fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, that
going
looks
to
like
the
a
away game. The away games are even better.
Yeah.
Go in the pub beforehand. Yeah, it's brilliant. Singing the songs.
And
so good.
Yeah. So these are, I don't know what these are. So I bought these. They're KZs, but they're like some kind of special little signature. So I don't know. I got to look it up on Amazon. I forgot what they were. They were only about $30. Yeah, they are KZs, but I don't know what model they are. But yeah,
I get something like that. My ears get hot with this.
Yeah, so they're the KZs. Android 13. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about material design. It's okay. It's a little. It can be cartoony if you really kind of if you set it up that way. But I mean, I do like having the battery widget. It's kind of nice, and the clock widget that kind of turns. I think it's kind of cool.
The widgets are good. Yeah,
the widgets are good. I mean, yeah, if you want to go full on snow cone with it, and you kind of make it all like bubbly bubble gum and shit everywhere. I mean, yeah, it could look a little.
Yeah, I've seen some horrible
juvenile looking. Yeah, it can kind of go there, but I at least you have some flexibility in the OS to kind of make some changes. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some builds that looked a little not my style.
Respect.
Yeah, it's not my style. But that's what's beautiful. You can kind of do what you want.
And talking of style, quickly, our sponsor, Extreme Skins.
Yeah.
www.extremeskins.co.uk. Check them out. Protect your tech in style.
Right. And they got good stuff.
That was professional, wasn't it?
That was really good. That almost sounded like you knew what you're talking about, which is better than I did.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, look at you. So Sam will be like the film Green Street when the American comes to watch football. So I don't know what that means. I guess there's a movie.
They used the Hobbit in that.
Oh, Jesus.
That was the only thing that was a bit strange about that film. They used the bloody Hobbit.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, I guess I got to do some homework, right? The film Green Street. The American
Green Street. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be a Hobbit, but maybe I'll do the same kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see. So, apparently, film. So did you have another? You said during our show you had a question for me. So about my opinion on something. So.
Oh yeah. So
see what that opinion might be.
Sam, have you ever been caught watching porn on your phone at work?
Fuck no. At work? No. Negative, sir. Nope.
Well,
nope.
You should watch the British news.
Oh, would it
in the House of Commons?
I was gonna say, is it an MP or somebody in government?
Yeah, seriously.
Nice.
At first, he tried to say it was by accident. Yeah.
Right.
Do you reckon he's got a duo as well? So
right, yeah,
full spread.
Just spanning across both screens. Yeah, it's good times. No, it's like watch porn at work. Oh my god, no. Jeez.
What's even better? He's saying he's looking up tractors. How does that relate? I mean, I know.
Yeah. No, looking up tractors. I guess you could have said he's looking up, like I don't know, like lube. You could look up lube because he was going to lubricate like a motor in his house, or
maybe.
I mean, something that kind of could segue into a possibility that could go to a porn site. But I think at that point, you just got to bite the bullet. It's like, yeah. So I mean, it's like either watch some porn.
Needless to say, step down now.
Right, watch some porn or watch these idiots in the House of Commons just bicker back and forth. I mean, hell, I'd probably watch something other than pay. I wouldn't be paying attention to what's going on and what's being had in chambers anyway. But yeah, watching porn at work, no, yeah, I don't. That's tacky. I can't imagine.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I kind of could. It's and that makes me laugh because it just goes to show you it really doesn't matter if they're British or they're Americans or they're I mean, it's like it's still the same. Right, it's still people. Right, at the end of the day, it's still people doing a bunch of people stuff. Right, human stuff.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah. That's why I'm like, yeah, the guy in the House of Commons watching porn instead of paying attention to what's being debated on the floor. Yeah. Okay, I got
This is
nothing. Yeah, so my
brilliant.
opinion is no. I don't watch porn at work. Sorry, it's just
No,
not my
no,
jam.
that's good to know.
Well, just in case, well, in
I'm
case
glad you don't do that.
you kind of were asking, do you watch porn at work? And I was like, the answer would be no.
No,
So
yeah, it was to lead into the fact that it has happened in the UK in the House of Commons. Wow,
well, I guess the
unbelievable.
House of Lords is still okay. They're unblemished. Either they don't have phones, or maybe nobody got caught yet. So
Yeah,
those are the
some
high.
dodgy
Those are the
porno
higher.
with tractors in it.
Yeah, those are the higher level folk, right? That's like the House of
Yeah,
Lords. It's like that. Those are the special people, right? As opposed to
yeah.
the commoners, right? Yeah, I get it. So okay, yeah, that's cool. But no porn
You
for
wasn't
me at
expecting
work.
that one, was you?
No, not particularly. No. You said well. You said it was politics. I went, oh, okay. That's gonna be an interesting conversation. See how that goes on. Yeah, I
Just
have been
imagine that
caught
though.
watching porn at work, not merely watching it. No, it's like, man, I don't. Well, here's the thing. What are you gonna do, right? So you're watching porn. So what are you gonna do? Just gonna go in the bathroom and just kind of get one rubbed out real quick while you're on a lunch break? I mean, like, why would you watch it at work if you weren't going
Yeah,
to be able to do anything with that? I don't understand that, but and apparently I've talked to some friends of mine who've had that scenario occur for them. So
so this is where a more compact phone might have been in his favour.
right, a
He could have
one-handed phone, so that way you can have the
could
other
have hit
hand
it.
free
Yeah,
to do the
who
business at
knows?
hand. Right. So, Leonardo da Vinci's asking, do I use the next app? No, I would like to though. I
I'd
think it'd
love
be
to.
kind of.
Yeah,
I'd like to check it out. I would. I, I don't use the Dex features or the ready
ready for
what ready for
ready for Motorola. Yeah,
or what had or Huawei had a version of that. I really don't use that very often. Oh, I do, however, use I have the earphone, so it's kind of nice with the Duo. But I really have never used that functionality. I think I probably would. I probably would like to check it out, and if I could get away with just bringing like that next dock and then just a phone and a charger, yeah, I think for the most part, probably 95% of my computing capability would be done, except for playing a game. Yeah, it would work out pretty
I
well.
really do love the idea of getting more out of your phone.
Oh
So I
yeah,
love the idea of the next dock.
especially considering the
Brilliant.
fact that your phone's capability as far as its processing power is right on board. I mean, it's what phones
Yeah,
can do now is pretty impressive. So yeah, I would love to try one. I just haven't got around to it. But yeah, next dock 360. If you're listening to this podcast, you can send me one. I'll test it out
yeah.
for you.
Next dock. There's not many of them about though. They're very small in supply.
Yeah, I know. I seen Juan did some stories about that, and I think
Yeah, he's
yeah, it
got
looks.
some content on it.
Oh yeah, he ordered. So he ordered a few weeks ago. And he hopes it comes soon. Cool. I hope so. And let us know. If you're
Yeah, let
enjoying
us know
that
how you
chat.
get on with that. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be interested.
I would like to. I mean, I think that has I really like
Yeah.
the next docs. I think it's pretty good.
So I wouldn't be able to take advantage of it with my Pixel though. I think you need a Samsung or a Motorola or a Huawei really to use it.
Yeah, and that's a shame too. I hope maybe at some point. I think that's maybe Google can come up with something
Yeah,
like that. Maybe it doesn't have to be as full feature, but something that would really work kind of good like that. That would be pretty sweet. I think that's one of the and then maybe at some point maybe they're going to see how people really use it. If they really use it and they can put some energy behind it, maybe they could develop some kind of dock or some kind of like emulated software desktop kind of thing going on. That would be
this is
kinda
their
cool.
third iteration, isn't it? They had the first one, then they had the Touch, then they've got this one, the 360.
Yeah, the 360. Yeah, so I mean they're making
They
them.
must be
So
doing all right.
yeah, and then DT is like he's fairly confident his next portable setup is going to be a phone with the next dock. Yeah, I think for the most thing that most people do with their phones, I think a next dock would be a really 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 good idea. So we'll have to wait and see. So Project Linda was that the Razor? Was that Project Linda? Was the Razor phone where actually the phone actually created into where right where the actual trackpad would be, so that would actually your phone would be the trackpad. It just slotted right into that. I would like that as a the Razor, the Project Linda would be kind of cool. I think that would be a pretty good idea. So we'll wait and see. The future of computing is it's all good, and us consumers stand to as companies try to find new ways to innovate and find new ways to secure your hard-earned pound euro or dollar. That we'll wait and see. So it'll be a good time. So we don't have, I guess, anything else. We're at the 50-minute mark, Joe.
Yeah, I'm surprised we filled 50 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not. You'd be surprised. It's these shows are great, but once you get talking about a couple of topics, it doesn't take long to fill it.
It gets going, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, so thank you to everyone in the chat room.
Yeah, and then next week, I don't really know who we have a guest lined up. It might be TK. We may not. I don't know. But we're reaching out to some people. We're
probably going to have a guest of some sort. We've got a couple of options, haven't we?
Right.
So hopefully we'll have a guest.
And we don't want to, make anybody sit here and really, you don't have to suffer through another guestless episode where just me and Joe.
No, I'd want to subject you just to us two only.
No, I do not know when LumaFusion is going to be available on Android. I am not a content creator, so I don't really know. But we'll keep an eye out for it. Eventually it'll come. Hopefully it does, because you don't have as many options in the software space.
I think it's coming to Samsung tablets. I'm not aware of it coming to Android as a whole.
Well, we'll wait and see how it goes. So hopefully they can get that done, because I think LumaFusion, for obviously they want to have as much engagement as possible. So that's it. That's the show for this Sunday, May 1st. It's already May 1st here.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Punch, first day of the month. 2022.
So if you get paid on the first of the month, you just got paid. If you're just keeping track of how fast the time is flying, it is already May 2022. So it is definitely flying by. We'll be back next Sunday. We will have a guest. Don't know who it is. And give us a follow, give us a listen, tell some people about us. Let us know, let other people know that, come on the chat, have a good time. We really appreciate Neil and Leonardo and DTia and Dan and Gigi. I saw Barry on here earlier. By Scoop, I know, and they all weren't really contributing. Hopefully they're just listening. And then we always, like I said, appreciate you guys taking your time on a busy Sunday to spend a little time with us.
Absolutely.
Download the podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple, and Spotify, and all the podcatchers of choice. And we'll be back next Sunday, 3 p.m., 9 p.m. to do it all over again and keep bringing you some fun chats and hopefully give you something to listen to, fill your e-holes with some good, honest content. So for myself, for Joe Hickey, that is the end of the show. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Take care. Have a good day, folks. Enjoy your tech, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.